a high probability that you are a customer. So first off, thanks for being a customer. And if you're on this call, you are a monitoring customer, and we appreciate that. And if you're on this call, you probably really care about monitoring. And so we appreciate that and hope we cover some information that you find very beneficial. We've been partnered with EM24 for 8, 9, 10 months at this point in time. We're very excited about the technology that they have and a lot of the tools and resources that they will provide. And I know Colleen's going to go through a lot of information. Colleen's our main contact with EM24. She does a great job. She's going to talk about some of the alternate ways to communicate or to get information from EM24, right? Whether it's through text messages, whether it's through emails or other technology that's available to us. So we're real excited. Please stay tuned for that. Just a couple of random comments here regarding monitoring. I get this question a lot from customers. Why do they call me so much is sometimes a frequent question. And panels do things. And when panels generate signals, whether it's an alarm, a trouble, or a supervisory, they send that information to EM24. And one of EM24's responsibilities is just communicate that back to you. Now, you might know it, right? Because you might already know there's a problem with the panel. It might be beeping locally. It might be enunciating locally. Panels are designed to do that, to tell somebody locally that they're having a problem. And it's also EM24's responsibility. If your account is set up to receive phone call notifications regarding that, EM24 is going to call you 3 times. And they'll do that as it kind of fits into the schedule. And if we have a list of people to call, right, let's say if we have 3 people to call and they try to call all 3 people and nobody answers, they're going to call back in about an hour, right? 2, 3, 4, whatever the time may permit, independent upon the type of signal. And if nobody answers that time, they're going to call a third and final time on that signal. And so that can create 9 phone calls for one signal. And if we get the panel creating another signal for maybe the same problem, this is how we start generating a lot of phone calls. I joke around, they're kind of like the Terminator, right? You ever watch any of the old Terminator movies, right? They're going to try to, go kill Sarah Connor. And if she escapes, they're going to try to kill her again, and they're going to keep going after her. They will keep trying to complete their mission of contacting you. So sometimes the best way to limit your phone calls is to answer the phone. So just keep that in mind. We have a lot of options, though. We can delay the notification of phone calls for signals that come in after 9 p.m. to 9 a.m., right? So if you don't want to get woken up in the middle of the night for a trouble or a supervisory, that's easy instructions. We just need those from you, and we can pass them along to EM24 so they get you set up with that. If you're getting a lot of phone calls for a particular issue, it might be possible to put that signal on test for a limited window of time so we can suppress those phone calls. We can also, suppress phone calls really in their entirety if you prefer to just get emails or text for your trouble or a supervisory signal type of thing. So we got a world of options available to you, and Colleen's going to walk you through it here. The last thing I would say before I hand it back to Taylor is if you need to reach us, if you need to make changes to the people who are on your call list, one of your best ways to do that is to email it in to us. And the email address for that is real simple: monitoring@integratedprotection.com. So whether you're a Cincinnati customer, national accounts customer, a Lexington customer, or a Columbus customer, it all goes to the same email group, and we'll take care of you. So monitoring@integratedprotection.com is a great way to get a hold of us to move, to do updates to your call list. That's all I've got, Taylor. I'll give it back to you so you can get on with the rest of the webinar here.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Tim. And all that information that Tim just threw out at you guys, I will be sure to include the monitoring contact info and things like that in my follow-up email. So now to get to the really fun and juicy stuff, I'm going to turn things over to Colleen from EM24 to go over ursecure.com, two-way texting, and app services.
Okay, first, can everybody hear me? Can you hear me, Taylor and Tim?
Yes, I can hear you now that I'm unmuted.
Can I share my screen here, if you guys don't mind?
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm going
yeah,
to
you
share
should have
this
the
screen.
ability.
So everybody should be able to see our faces here.
Yep.
So I'm gonna open up You Are Secure, and I hope that everybody has gone to check this out because this is amazing. You Are Secure. So IPS can set up You Are Secure access for you. You can also set yourself up with access on You Are Secure, but you'll only get limited access if you set yourself up on You Are Secure. So I'm going to log in just like you would log in, the top right-hand corner, log in. It's going to open up a new window and load. So I'm going to enter my account number, my password for the website or for You Are Secure, and the phone number for the property, the subscriber phone number with no dashes and no spaces. So if you notice below, after I enter that, I'm going to log in, but you can sign up yourself right here by clicking sign up. If you forgot your password, you would click here. And if this is not the right account number, you can click here. So for this purpose, I'm going to type in my account number 020560. My password. This is different than the verbal passcode that you give to our monitors when we call you for an alarm. And then the phone number for this account on the subscriber. This is an emergency 24 number in case anyone's wondering. And I'm going to log in. So from here, you have some search options that you can search by, or you can type something in this box here and search. But just below, you're going to see all the accounts that I'm able to view. You've seen I logged in with the 020560, which is our youaresecure.com demo account. But I also have access to see 020564, which is the emergency 24 demo account, a different address, and then this multiple account that starts with a star 46721, Colleen's Donut Shop. So for this purpose, we're going to go to youaresecure.com demo so I can just show you all the options that we have. To the left here is all of your account data, account number, name, address, subscriber phone numbers if there's more than one, your time zone that you're in. If you have anything scheduled for your account, like I have scheduled open and closing and auto test on the account. This is my date and service right here. I do have a multiple account number, which was that star account number. It's a digital dialer. I have 0 auto tests per month and 0 reports per year. To the right here, I can click on these and I'll be able to view all the passcodes that are on the account. My party list, I can synchronize the party list with those other accounts that you've seen on the previous page. All the conditions that we monitor on the account. The supervision schedule, if there is one in place, a holiday supervision schedule, because we do not want to call you on a holiday and bother you when you're trying to have fun with your family. Business hours, if we monitor your business hours, you'll be able to adjust those here. And to view your history report, I think this is really neat, so that you can see any activity on your accounts. And then to put your account in test, well, actually, I already have it in test here. So let me pull that out of test on my side screen here and refresh my screen. So we have lots of testing records because I've been playing around with this account this morning, getting ready for our meeting. Scrolling down below is my party list, the name of the party, the phone number, the days that phone number is available, and the hours that phone number is available. So party number 3, the monitoring number, is available Monday through Sunday, so that's 7 days a week and 24 hours a day. My work number, however, both of these are my work numbers actually. They're only available Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 3:30. If it's after these hours, outside of these hours, our system is automatically going to skip it and just go immediately to this last phone number or any phone numbers that are after that phone number. So up here, we can make a temporary change. We can request a permanent change. So if I was to request a permanent change, IPS is going to get a notification. And I have the capability to make permanent changes on the account. But that would be something you'd want to discuss with IPS if you can make permanent changes or not. So first, let's take a look at my passcodes here. So here's all my different passcodes on this account number. And I can see what privileges that passcode has. Most of my passcodes have the privilege to do everything. They can do anything on the account. This is my holdup or stress code. I hope that everyone's aware what the holdup or stress code is and how it's used. This is to tell our operators when we're calling you that you're in distress and you want the police sent. It's an inconspicuous way for you to tell us to send the police. If you ever give us a wrong passcode, we're also going to follow your callback option, which I'll get into in a minute. And we would more than likely notify the authorities as well, even if you give us a wrong passcode. So if you don't remember that holdup code, just keep in mind we're going to continue calling if you give us the wrong passcode. See, I can add a new passcode or I can edit these passcodes as well. Let's go back. My party list here, which you can see below, here is where I would be able to make some changes if I needed to. If I wanted to put them in a different order, if I needed to add a new party, and if I needed to edit anything, I would be able to do that here. So my history report, I think, is a good one here. Let me pull this up. So we're going to only show the signals for the past week. So our signals always have the little red yes next to it so that you know it's a signal. Tells you the date and the time that it was received, even your time zone. This is going to be your time zone for your property. And then the type of alarm here, any description that we may have, who we would have called, and what we have in our remarks line. This is our condition code right here. So we have a new feature actually on the app and on the website. So if you notice this little green test button, let's say this fire alarm keeps coming in over and over again. So I don't want to be called on it anymore. I can go to the app or the website and click this little test button. And now I'm going to be able to place that one alarm in test without having to call the monitoring company, which is us, Emergency24, or having to call IPS. I mean, you probably want to call IPS anyways, though. So it's going to default to that right now, today's date, and this time right now, I'm in Central Time. And it's going to default 2 hours beyond that because that's our default. Test time is 2 hours, but you can always go out past that if you'd like. So I'm going to continue. Oh no, what happened? That did not work as intended. I apologize. Let me go back. Oh, so I already have a whole bunch of things in test, and that's probably why my test didn't work correctly. So these are all the things that I already currently have in test. And I can remove any of those things, and I can add more things on test if I would like. So also looking at your conditions list, I think is something that everyone should do when they have access to it. So they can see all the things that we monitor on their account. How we're going to call out is our callback options. This is our description right here, and if we're calling subscribers or not, right here. But the callback option for the type of alarm is really something that you should take a look at and you would want to discuss with IPS. So I'm going to pull up some information here. Here's Emergency24's callback options and the different options that you have for every alarm that we monitor. You can have a different callback option. This is for phone notifications. This would be the procedure that we take for that specific alarm. So let's say for fire alarms, this is our normal callback option right here, callback option 16. We're going to call the authorities and the subscribers simultaneously. Then if we don't receive a passcode or we're not able to reach the subscriber, we're going to call the parties, and we're also going to notify IPS. Just something handy to talk about here. So do we have any questions about You Are Secure, what I went over here?
I'm going to check the chat. I don't see any questions in the chat. Does anyone have anything they want to hop on their mic and ask or drop in the chat box before we move on?
I got a quick question.
Okay.
On the app, will you still get the same display like we're seeing here?
It does vary a little bit, but you're going to have access to the same information.
Okay. And then you said that we've got more features if we sign up on You Are Secure through IPS. Is that correct?
Yes. So if you sign up yourself, you're only going to have limited access. All you'll be able to see is the account information, but you won't be able to make any kind of changes. You can't request changes. You can't put the system in test. So I would recommend going through IPS if you wanted to sign up. And it takes them less than 1 business day to make sure that you're signed up, as far as I know. I mean, if I'm wrong, Tim, please correct me.
We try to respond to those requests same day to the best of our ability to get you signed up. So.
And Brian, I will include in my follow-up email to everyone, I'll include really specific instructions on who to contact here at IPS and what information to supply in order to get you set up with yoursecure.com.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Colleen, I thought I'd just jump in there real quick. The callback options is a big difference from the way it used to be. So if you're a longtime monitoring customer of ours and you worked with us when we worked with Acadian, this opens up a whole slew of options for us here. And, with fire alarm, things are pretty straightforward, right? A panel goes into alarm and we need to call the authorities, and then we call the first party on the list. We call it the subscriber, and then we start calling through the people on the list. With say our Berg or intrusion systems, we've got even more options available to you now. So if you get, burglar alarms going off in your facility and you just want, these particular doors or motions or whatever to only call you, and then someone on site will make a determination whether you're going to call the authorities, we can set that up, right? One callback option was we're just going to call the party list, right? What we might have referred to as the call list, right? The individual people. And it stops there. We could call the party list, and if nobody answers, then they're going to call the authorities on your behalf, right? We could call the first phone number in the authorities, right? We got all sorts of combinations available to us, and you can do it really by device or by sensor. So if your perimeter, goes into alarm, you could have one set of callback options for that. If it's interior motion detector devices and those go into alarm, you could have different callback options for that. So just something to keep in mind as you use your account there.
So I kind of want to add on to that, Tim, if I can. So if you're having a problem with something and maybe you want to keep an eye on it before you call IPS, and you don't want to put it in test because you do want to be notified, you might want to try out one of these callback options down here. Like Tim said, we would call the subscriber. If there's no answer, then we're going to call the parties, and then we would only dispatch if we're not able to reach anyone. So maybe something like that, just so you know you do have options in the way that we call out. We're going to call out how you want us to call on your account. And this is for, like I said, phone notifications only. We also have email notifications and text notifications, and we're going to go over those in just a moment. I'm going to pull up my delayed notifications sheet here. So a delayed notification is for non-critical signals that we delay between the hours of 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. So my best example of this is, let's say your low battery goes off at 10 p.m. at night. Do you want to be called at 10 p.m. for a low battery on a sensor or for your alarm panel? Most people, the answer is no. So we're going to hold that call, and then we're going to call you the following morning at 9 a.m. and say, we received your low battery at 10 p.m. last night. We're calling to notify you. A lot of people enjoy that we're not calling in the middle of the night for the low batteries or the power failures, communication failures, because most people don't want to get woken up in the night for those type of calls. So down below here is just a little description of each of the alarms that we can delay. So you have the option to have any of these types of alarms delayed, so we do not call you between 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. Let's move over here to our two-way text SMS notification. So this is where you would have to opt in for this service. IPS can set you up, but they're going to push out a text message to your phone, and then your text message, you have to opt in for this service. It's not mandatory. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. And you can always stop this service at any time. If you do decide you don't like it, you don't want the text messages, you can stop this service at any time, and then you would go back to getting the phone notifications. So this is only for non-critical signals for two-way text notifications. Like I said, you would have to opt into this service, and you can opt out at any time if you don't like it. We can also do one-way email or text notifications. This is my next one here. You would receive basically the same information that we would give you over the phone, but you would receive it either in a text message or an email. And this can be in addition to a phone call if you'd like, or this can replace a phone call if you'd like for the email or text notifications. And we always want to make sure that you save our email address so that we're not going to your spam. I can send out all this information so that you guys will have this information. Here's some more two-way text information. So these are the types of alarms that we can send out via text message. We only do it for a very limited amount of signals right now, or limited amount of alarms right now, but we are working on adding more to this. And like I said, you can cancel this at any time, and we would only text out between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So we're not going to send you text messages either at midnight or 1 a.m. about these kind of things. We would hold it and wait to the next day. Is there any questions about any of this?
I don't see anything in the chat.
Well, I think that's all that I have today, Taylor and Tim. I mean, unless you guys want to add anything else, or if you wanted me to go over anything else.
Nothing from me. Are there any final lingering questions out there now that we've kind of covered the material?
I had a question on those passcodes. There were, you had a range of passcodes on there. I understand there's a separate passcode for somebody that when they are called by the monitoring company. But how are those other passcodes used? I guess I'm confused on what their purpose is.
So these passcodes, well, each person that has access to contact us, the monitoring center, we always recommend that everyone should have their own passcode, because when you're calling into our operators, we do sometimes ask for your name, but when we're entering your passcode, that tells us and IPS kind of who is canceling an alarm or who's doing something on an account. So each individual person who would be answering our calls should have their own passcode.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And then you can make different designations. If we edit, we have different privileges. The all privilege is able to do everything. If you only want someone to be able to cancel false alarms, you would choose this designation. This would be to make temporary changes. This is only to have access to the history on the account, the hold up passcode we went over, and then the testing passcode. And you can choose more than one if you'd like for someone. So you can give them the exact access that you'd like them to have.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Oh, sorry, Ren, did you have something else?
Yeah, just a kind of big picture. We have DMP as our burglar alarm system, and so we would still use that to manage that part of it. And then this EM24, which we haven't used previously, that would be to manage the monitoring interaction.
Yes.
Yeah, correct. The virtual keypad lets you manage the DMP panel, right? You can turn it on, turn it off, do all the other things that app enables you to do. And then this really allows you to manage the monitoring of it. So change your call list, submit call list changes into it, put the panel on test, probably one of the most exciting ones, the app. Once you get into it, you'll see there's a big orange button that says put on test, and you tap through that, and it's pretty straightforward about the process there. So that's something we hear a lot from customers, that they really like the ability to do it themselves rather than having to make a phone call.
Great, thank you.
Okay,
So-
we've got couple of questions in the chat. One, will we be provided the presented materials? And yes, I will send y'all as much information as I can, just so you can review at a later time, and again, pass along to any colleagues, anybody who interacts with your monitoring account. If they weren't able to join us today, this is great information. And then the other question is this replacing Boldnet? Yes, Boldnet was the app that was available with Acadian. Since we have moved over to Emergency24, this is their app. So yes, this does replace Boldnet, and you will enroll via the instructions that I'm going to email out to you later today. You email monitoring@integratedprotection.com. There's a few pieces of information we ask you to send us just to reduce the back and forth, and we'll get you set up pretty quickly.
So I did just want to add to place it in test, because my other account was already in test. On the website, it's going to be a green button that says add account to test. And then you have the options to add the entire account, add a group of conditions, or add a specific condition in test if you'd like. And we also have a tutorial that we've sent out. I can send it to Taylor again so she can send it out to anyone who wants that as well.
Yeah, that would be great, Colleen. All right, are there any final questions before we wrap up and get you guys out early?
I have a question.
Okay.
Well, I'm in Wisconsin now. I don't know if you know that or not, but it's going to be a super hot day today. How's the weather where you guys are at today?
It's going to be a warm one.
That was
I
all.
think it's back in the 90s. We had a nice weekend, and now summer is here.
We're going to be over 100 today.
Ooh.
I think 109 with the heat index.
Ooh. That sounds fun. That sounds fun, Colleen. You enjoy.
Well, I'm glad that I'm going back to Chicago this evening.
Yeah. All right. Well, if there are no further lingering thoughts or questions, I'm going to go ahead and close down our webinar. Again, I will follow up with everyone via email. I'll include a link to the recording once it's available. The handouts, anything I can send you, I will. Instructions on how to sign up for these services. And then again, remember, just to reply back to my email, there will be some instructions so that I can get you your gift card for attending today. So again, thank you for taking your time out of your day to join us, and I hope everyone has a good rest of their week.
Thanks, you too.
All right, bye now.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Thank you very much.